In the heart of the Arabian Peninsula lay a vast and formidable desert, a land where survival itself was an art. To outsiders, Arabia seemed barren and empty, but to its people, it was a living map of roots, stars, and memories. Every dune, every rocky outcrop, and every well had a name. The Arabs of old moved with precision through this harsh landscape, a people who measured distance not in miles, but in stories. The peninsula's geography made it a natural bridge between great civilizations. To the north lay Byzantium and Syria. To the east, Persia and Mesopotamia. To the south, Yemen and the ports of the Indian Ocean. And to the west, Abyssinia and the Red Sea coast. Through Arabia's veins flowed a network of ancient trade routes, the arteries of early civilization, carrying spices, incense, textiles, and gold. Long before the rise of Islam, these routes connected empires and faiths, poets and merchants, kings and tribes. They also shaped the destiny of one city that would later rise as the beating heart of the world, Makkah. It was here, among barren mountains and sun-scorched valleys, that Allah placed His sacred house, the Kaaba, a center of unity in a land divided by tribes. Generations later, this very landscape would witness the dawn of revelation. But before that divine light, Arabia was a world of movement, of caravans, trade, and ambition. Makkah was not blessed with fertile soil or flowing rivers. It had no fields, no orchards, and no grand palaces. Yet, what it lacked in nature, it possessed in destiny. The Quraysh tribe, descendants of Prophet Ismail, peace be upon him, settled here and became the custodians of the Kaaba. That sacred trust gave them a unique position among Arabia's tribes. Pilgrims and travelers who came to visit the house of Allah also came to trade. And through trade, Makkah prospered. While the north and south of Arabia were dominated by powerful empires, Makkah stood as a neutral hub, safe from conquest, protected by its sanctity, and enriched by its markets. Every year, people from across the peninsula gathered for the Ukaz fair, a blend of commerce and culture. Here, poets recited verses that would echo through generations, merchants exchanged goods from distant lands, and alliances were sealed by oaths sworn before idols that surrounded the Kaaba. Though those idols represented ignorance, their presence drew tribes together, and Makkah, unknowingly, became the center of both material and spiritual significance. As Ibn Hisham narrates in As-Surah al-Nabawiyah, the Quraysh gradually evolved from simple traders into masters of a vast commercial system. Their caravans moved with discipline, their agreements were honored, and their word carried weight. It was not military might that built Makkah's influence, but trust, trade, and tribal diplomacy, all guided by the hand of divine preparation for the message that would soon arrive. Each year, long lines of camels stretched across the horizon, caravans carrying precious cargo through burning sands. Led by seasoned men who knew the stars by heart, these caravans became the lifeline of the Quraysh economy. From the southern ports of Yemen, ships brought spices from India, silk from China, and incense from Dhofar. From the north came weapons from Syria, oils from Palestine, and fabrics from Byzantium. Makkah stood in the middle, connecting worlds. Each caravan was a marvel of organization. Every tribe along the route received its due payment for safe passage, a practice rooted in necessity, not luxury. As Ibn Kathir records, the Quraysh would form treaties with neighboring tribes, offering them trade partnerships or protection fees in exchange for security. This web of agreements ensured that Quraysh caravans could travel vast distances without fear of ambush. It was this system that allowed Makkah to flourish while other desert settlements faded away. Even before Islam, the Quraysh were known across Arabia as Ahl al-Haram, the people of the sanctuary, respected, trusted, and envied. Yet behind the glitter of their commerce lay a truth the Quran would later remind them of, that security and sustenance come not from trade routes or treaties, but from Allah alone. Surah Quraysh captures the entire essence of Makkah's prosperity in just 4 verses. For the protection of Quraysh, their protection during the winter and summer journeys, let them worship the Lord of this house, who has fed them against hunger and made them safe from fear. These words, revealed in Makkah, reminded the Quraysh of blessings they had come to take for granted. Their winter journeys led them south to Yemen, where they traded in perfumes, spices, and incense. Their summer journeys took them north to Syria, where they bartered with the Romans for wheat, olive oil, and fine cloth. Each journey was an act of courage, across scorching deserts by day and freezing winds by night. Yet Allah had protected them through it all. The Kaaba stood at the heart of these blessings, its sanctity shielding Makkah from the endless wars that plagued the rest of Arabia. But while the Quraysh remembered their roots, they forgot their Lord. Surah Quraysh came as both a reminder and a call. Worship the Lord of this house. It was not their skill or diplomacy that sustained them, but Allah's decree. And soon that Lord would send them the greatest mercy, His final messenger. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon him. The caravan routes that cut through Arabia were ancient, older even than Rome or Persia. The most famous of them was the incense route, stretching from the mountains of Yemen to the markets of Damascus. For centuries, frankincense and myrrh traveled this road, treasured in temples and royal courts across the world. From Sana'a, caravans passed through Najran, crossed the barren plains of Hijaz, and halted in Makkah before moving onward to Yathrib, later Medina, and north toward Petra and Gaza. Each stop was marked by wells, oases, and small markets, maintained by tribes who lived from the trade that passed their lands. To the west, routes hugged the Red Sea coast toward Abyssinia. To the east, others led toward Al-Hira and Persia. Arab traders mastered the rhythm of the desert, knowing where water could be found, when winds shifted, and how to protect caravans from raiders. The Quran later hinted at these patterns in Surah Saba, describing how Allah had once made travel easy and safe for the people of Sheba, until arrogance led them to ruin. And we placed between them and the towns we had blessed, towns visible, and we made easy the stages of journey between them, saying, "Travel therein by night and day in safety." But they said, "Our Lord, make the stages of our journeys longer." So we made them stories and scattered them utterly. A timeless reminder that prosperity is fragile when gratitude fades. The caravans of pre-Islamic Arabia carried more than goods, they carried connections. From Yemen came incense, aloe wood, and leather. From Abyssinia, ivory and gold. From Syria and Palestine, oils and glassware. From Persia, carpets and perfumes. But perhaps the greatest treasure of all was knowledge, the ideas and beliefs traders encountered on their travels. Through trade, Arabs learned of Christianity and Judaism, of empires and philosophies, of power and governance. Yet, they returned to Makkah with goods in their hands and confusion in their hearts, for none of those teachings offered the unity and spiritual purpose their souls longed for. In the marketplace, wealth flowed freely, but justice was rare. The poor were forgotten, orphans oppressed, and slaves bought and sold like grain. The Quraysh boasted of their trade, but behind every coin lay the cry of the weak. Still, Allah allowed them to rise in wealth and stability, for history itself was being prepared for revelation. No caravan could survive without alliances. Before Islam, Arabia was a tapestry of tribes, each with its pride and power. The Quraysh mastered the art of diplomacy, forging pacts with tribes along their routes. They allied with Banu Kinana, Hudhail, and others in the west, and made agreements with Ghassanids and Lakhmids on the borders of Roman and Persian lands. Al-Baladur notes that these alliances were built on reciprocity. The Quraysh provided trade opportunities, while the tribes guaranteed protection. This system became so reliable that caravans could move hundreds of miles without conflict. It was also a time when clan honor dictated the rhythm of life. Every merchant carried his lineage like a badge of credibility. A Quraysh trader could enter foreign lands and be welcomed not for his wealth, but for his name. These bonds of protection, called hilf, were so strong that when Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, later began his mission, these same networks either shielded or opposed him. History's groundwork was being laid long before revelation descended. Surah Saba recounts the story of a once prosperous nation in Yemen, the people of Sheba. Their land was lush, their dams abundant, their roots safe. They were, in every way, a mirror of what Makkah would become. But when gratitude vanished, Allah's favor withdrew. So we sent upon them the flood of the dam, and we replaced their 2 gardens with gardens bearing bitter fruit, tamarisk, and a few lote trees. Ibn Kathir explains that this event was not merely historical, but moral, a parable for all nations. It reminded the Arabs that prosperity without faith is a hollow blessing. The Quraysh too were walking that path, secure, wealthy, and admired, yet spiritually adrift. The idols surrounding the Kaaba could not give them peace. Their poetry glorified pride, not piety. And in this growing emptiness, Allah was preparing hearts for change, hearts that would soon respond to the call. Say, my Lord has guided me to a straight path, a religion of uprightness. As Makkah's trade expanded, so did its inequalities. Gold shimmered in markets, but darkness filled hearts. The Quraysh measured worth by lineage and wealth, not by righteousness. They clothed the Kaaba in fine garments, but filled it with idols of stone. Travelers from distant lands admired Makkah's order, yet few saw its moral decay. The poor slept hungry beneath the same stars that guided caravans laden with treasure. It was a world in need of mercy, a society rich in trade, poor in spirit. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, was born into this very world. As a young man, he joined the caravan of Khadija, R.A., traveling the same routes that had sustained Makkah for centuries. But where others saw commerce, he saw signs, signs of creation, of divine power, of purpose. The Quraysh saw trade as their legacy. Rasulullah, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, saw it as a lesson, that wealth and travel should remind us of Allah's provision, not distract us from it. The Quraysh's mastery of trade gave them wealth, stability, and fame, yet all of it was merely a prelude. Through these very routes, Allah had prepared Arabia for a message that would travel farther than any caravan ever could. The same roads that once carried incense and silk would soon carry the words of Allah, the Qur'an. The same merchants who once traded goods would become carriers of faith, spreading Islam from Makkah to Damascus, from Yemen to the farthest corners of the earth. Trade connected nations, revelation connected hearts. And so, in the stillness of Makkah's mountains, the Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessing be upon him, would soon receive the first words that would forever change the world. Read, in the name of your Lord, who created. The age of caravans was ending. The age of light was about to begin. The trade routes of Arabia once carried wealth and wonder across the sands, but it was faith, not gold, that would illuminate their hearts. Join us in the next episode, The Tribal Code, Loyalty, Revenge, and Endless Wars, as we explore the code of honor that ruled Arabia before the coming of the final messenger. May Allah's peace and blessing be upon him.